Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Renew Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. As I've said on social media and the other video, this is our last show of the season. We're actually going to take the summer off from doing live shows and then come back in September, the first Tuesday of September. So I'll be making other videos telling you what we have planned throughout the summer because the channel will stay busy, as well as the website and other things, but I don't want to do all that right here. So, as you can see, we have a long title today for the show, but basically what we're talking about is breaking points and what drove you to trying to be healthy, and what did you ignore along the way. Many of us, we were talking, and we hear people all the time talk about many things that should have pushed them to want to get healthy, but a lot of times we ignore those and we just continue on for various reasons. So we're going to try to talk about some of those things and hope you have a lot of things to share with us. What was it that finally made you say you wanted to be healthy? What were some of the things along the way that should have pushed you to that point, and what was it that stopped you from listening to them? So in order from the way I can see it, I'm just going to introduce everyone, and then we're just going to jump right into it with Rose talking about what it took for her to turn her life around. So we have Brooke, Crazy Running Mom. We have Rose, Gastric Rose. Sarah from the Smelling Lose Fat Team. And Sherry Ann, I always forget your channel name, which is sad.
Dad's Wife KNS.
Yeah, okay. Dad's Wife KNS. It's sad because she kind of built the name around my nickname. So
exactly.
But she was using her name for a while, so I always forget whether she switched or not. So you guys got to forgive me for that. All right, Rose, so why don't you tell us about what it took for you to finally turn your life around, and maybe even some of the things you didn't do.
Well, first of all, the first thing that happened was I fell down. And I don't know if everybody has seen the documentary, but if you need to go see the documentary, it is called Surviving to Thriving. And it's about my twin sister and myself. And when I was 487 pounds, I've been a school teacher for over 30 years, and I was in the hallway. I accidentally slipped. It didn't just take one person. I'm not going to make the story long, but it didn't just take one person to pick me up. It took 4 men and my daughter. My daughter was in the 1st grade, and I'll never forget it. And I could feel her little fingers trying to help me up. And I said that day, I basically just prayed and asked God to be merciful and help me find a way to live, because I no longer wanted to live in that body. That wasn't living. I was just surviving, just trying to make it hour to hour, not even day to day. So it became a very, very powerful for me to say enough is enough. And that's the day that I decided to go on the Atkins diet. And that's basically my background, is the Atkins diet. But not only did I go on the Atkins diet, and I got down to 147, but I got happy. I remarried, and again, to make the story even longer, I came back from my honeymoon, and I had gained back. I was from 147, believe it or not, I had already gained almost 100 pounds back. We were gone for 2 weeks, but when I went to see a doctor, it was 2 months. 2 months. In 2 months' time, I was up 100 pounds. And people say, that's impossible. No, it's not. I did it. And so a doctor recommended gastric bypass because he said I was going back to 400 pounds easily. By the time I had surgery, it was like that was the only thing that was going to help me. And my breaking point, to make a long story short again, my breaking point was the fact that I needed to say it's time to do something today. No more waiting, no more. My mother was had already passed away. My husband passed away, and it was time for me to work on me. Uh, I did remarry 6 years later and found a wonderful man, and we've been together ever since. But uh, the struggles have been real, and you have to make the decision to do something about it, because it's easy to daily do this, shove it in because you hurt because of what happened, you know, with your life, or what you're going through, or the emotions that you're eating. You're eating your emotions, you're eating your hurt, you're eating your pain. So my breaking point was the fact that I needed to do something right then and there. And I find myself doing that often, going back to those memories and not wanting to relive that life ever again.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's amazing to see that the stages that you took, that you lost the weight, you got down, below 150, and then, had to regain in such a short period. And so it seemed like there was more than one thing that, hit you that said, I need to take care of this.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I got happy, but I gave up. Like, once you start putting 20 pounds on and then you put another extra 20 pounds on, it's like you give up. You're like, okay, that's not. I had been on diets and lost and gained and lost and gained, and it's like it becomes gaining it, losing it, and gaining it. But I'm not familiar with keeping it off. I needed to familiarize myself with keeping it off. And I'm there today. 10 years later, I am familiar with it. I know when I need to pull back on the rein. I know what keeps me healthy. Not skinny, because I'm not there yet. I don't think I'll ever be skinny. But I am seeing healthy.
For me, it's funny because I had a couple of times, that, I've said before that I didn't gain weight steadily. It happened almost like stairs, where I stayed one weight for a couple of years, gained 20 pounds in a month, and then stayed that weight for another year, and then had another month where I just binged like crazy and gained 20, 30 pounds. And, so it moved like stairs. And what made me say, okay, I don't want to be, I don't know what made me actually want to get out and work out the first time. But the first time I did work out, I remember I didn't want to feel like that again, and I've talked about everything that happened with me laying on the street almost dead, just from the hard workout. And I just said I never want to be in this position where I am physically unable to do something that I should be able to do. I don't want to be the one who, it has to hold on to something that just falls off because I'm too weak to hold up my body, or I can't run for a half a block. So, some pit bull gets me and kills me. I mean, you just think about those things and say, if I had been just a little bit better shape, I could have done this. And I didn't want to be in that position. So, I just said, I won't be here again where I'm so out of shape that I just physically cannot do something. Because if a car had come then, I don't think I would have been able to move, or if they would have had to stop for me and give me time, because I wouldn't have been able to just get up. So, doing something like that hit me that hard. And I even had times where I got discouraged after that. I lost weight pretty quickly. And then with the low testosterone and then a couple of injuries and everything, and just getting discouraged, it's been hard to maintain that. And definitely I lost that initial motivation. But that was the thing that just woke me up and said, hey, you're 300 pounds, you're, 5'6", and, the 300 pounds is not muscle. The 300 pounds is all fat, and it's a waste, and, you can barely do things. And, thinking back, like, oh, when I was in high school, I did all this stuff. And, it was just the comparisons. It was everything, So, and it's funny, comments never did it. Someone saying, oh, you're fat, or when I, a little bit after getting married, about a year after, I had gotten sick. I had a Crohn's flare up, and I lost 50 pounds in 6 weeks. And after that, I got out the hospital, and some people saw me, said, "Oh, you look small." I gained 50, 60 pounds, in a few months after that. Like it was nothing. I mean, you think right then, actually, I was lighter then than I am now after trying to lose weight for over 2 years. I was still a little lighter at that time. So that would have been a perfect chance for me, and I didn't take it. And I don't know why. I don't know what it was mentally that didn't let me say this is important and I have to lose weight and I have to, take care of my health. I don't know why it didn't at that time, but that would have been the perfect time when I was that small. Had I lost what I lost now from that point, I would be at my goal.
Mm-hmm.
But I let myself gain over 60 pounds from that point before I actually took it seriously.
Yeah.
And do you really think that you were not taking it seriously before?
When I look back, there were times when I made a commitment for a week or so, and I would say, "That's it. I'm losing weight. I'm tired of moving up and having to buy new clothes and whatever it was. I'm tired of feeling uncomfortable when I'm sitting in certain seats." But after a week or so, it's just like, I'm going to lose this weight. Oh, that pizza looks good. Or, oh, man, I don't feel like working out today. It's cold or whatever it is. And I'd start making these excuses. So I don't know if it wasn't important at all, or if my love of or addiction to food and my overall laziness just was more important to me.
Yeah, I was kind of like on the same there because I went through, I would go on these spurts and be like, yeah, I'm going to lose weight. And I'd be good for like a week and then like, oh, I've done so good. And then I'd stop and you just never pick back up again. Mine, like I've been overweight my entire life. Even when I was a little kid, I was the chunky kid in the neighborhood. But I was active when I was a kid still. But when I became a teenager, I wasn't active. And I think a lot of that was because I was really self-conscious about my weight. So I didn't go and be active, like running and stuff like that, because who wants to see the fat girl running, playing baseball? I was really self-conscious. And I never, like, when I started losing weight, I didn't have like this like epiphany and lights shining on me saying, start losing weight now. It's just I saw this video, this YouTube video from Nico's Kitchen, a cooking vlog, and he was overweight and he said he was going to try and lose weight and he challenged people. Well, then I saw a guy do a video, Tommy Brisbane, and I watched his videos, and then I decided I'm going to do this. So then I made a video and just started on my journey like that. It was just, I guess I was inspired by that, and I decided, hey, I'm going to do this. And the vlogging and stuff really got me, going. I used to be like, well, what I need is, I said this so many times, is I need a doctor to tell me if I don't lose weight, I'm going to die. Then I'll start losing weight. And I rationalized that with myself that that's when I should get serious about things. Never mind all this other stuff, and I just ignored all of it. But anyways, that's kind of like what it started for me. And hey, I've gained back some weight, like a lot of us have, but we just keep going and, keep working towards it.
Yeah, I think
I
that's the
saw you
thing.
buying those panties.
Like
I
how you
saw them
said
panties,
is,
girlfriend.
but I think that we do take it seriously the different times. I just think that for various reasons, we're just quick to drop the ball before we finish what we started. Whether we get too comfortable or give up or stop paying attention or other things take priority. Like they're just these different things that get us off focus, it seems.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what? I have debt my family constantly. My mother was there were 6 siblings in the family. It was dying in front of me, and that wasn't motivating me. That was just making me eat more. And I knew I was going to lose her. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that my husband was going to be after her. My mother passed away in March. The following year, my husband passed away. So you can see death right around, or at least I did. I saw death around me, but never thought, you're next. You're next. Not until I fell down. It took 4 men to pick me up. I say, I am next. I saw it. That's the time. That's the day I said, I'm next. Go. So for me, it was a breaking point. It broke me enough to say, you're killing yourself. You're next going into that ground. And that's how serious I had to become. But I got happy again. 6 years later, I get married, and I do it to myself again. And that's what was crazy until the doctor told me, he said, some of us do where I'm at today. It's not total, it's not everything, because if you all know, this is more work than I've ever put in my whole entire life. It's a work, but it's worth the work.
Yeah.
Just like everything else.
I was just looking at the comments, and Alicia says, I didn't want to die from the effect of having diabetes. I was tired of just being a nobody. And Susan says, I don't want to be the one they cut out the side of the house for.
Oh.
I know for me, like, kind of like Khalif talked about running from a pit bull or something, like, that's kind of how I feel, is not even about losing weight, but being healthy. I always feel like, especially because I love action movies, I'm like, what if I'm at the edge of the cliff? I won't be able to save myself. I'm just going to fall off and die. Like, I can't even hold up my own body. So, like, that's something I always think about, is I at least will be able to hold up my own body weight so I don't fall off the cliff. If some situation happened where I need to have strength to help myself, it's like, I'm dead now. There's just no hope,
Yeah. That was me that was me. I know that, it's funny, but that was me. I was on that floor, and there was no help. I could not help myself.
Yeah. I think another thing, too, that when I started losing weight and, realized it was something serious, thinking about getting so big to the point where someone has to help me do personal things. I mean, I didn't want to get to that point. I didn't want to have somebody help me use the bathroom or bathe myself, and and like you mentioned, having the wall cut out to take you to the hospital. We've seen all of that tragic stuff, and it breaks my heart. And that really, once I started and realized where I was at and how close I was to getting to that point, it became like a serious thing. It was like, well, that's scary.
Yeah. It's, we know, like, there are all these shows out there, and Khalif and I even watched a few on YouTube from Great Britain.
Yeah, I've watched a heap of those.
Yeah, like, we were addicted to those for a while.
Yep.
I do remember, I don't remember, it was an American one, but whatever. Like, this lady, she had gotten so morbidly obese that her son, who was in his 20s, like, he had no life but taking care of her. Like, morning, noon, and night, like, that's all he had to take care of his mom. That's all he knew. And definitely I think those things do put it in perspective.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, scary.
Brooke, I'm curious about you because you had a large weight gain, in a short period of time, but it was connected to, very, very, trying is putting it lightly, a trying event in your life. So, do you think that it was different for you when you had the gain to when you really said, okay, enough is enough, I have to do something about it?
Yeah, for sure, because before that I had been fit and healthy, and I exercised and I ate well. I was a vegan for 2 years. I mean, like, all that was a very high priority in my life, and I haven't talked about it for a long time, but my son Harry, little Harry, was born at 25 weeks. he was a pound and a half and in the hospital for like 5 months. I mean, it was just really terrible. And during that time, and then the year after because when he was home, he was still like needed a lot of medical care and blah, 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 blah. He was on oxygen and yada, yada. So for that whole year and a half even, I couldn't smoke because I was breastfeeding, and that's something that even though I was healthy, I did smoke. I couldn't drink because I was breastfeeding, and breastfeeding a very high-risk infant. Of course, you can drink and breastfeed, I know, but for him, I couldn't. And so I ate, and 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 I didn't just like eat. When people say, "Oh, I had a whole bag of Oreos," I'm like, yeah, I had like 3, and I had a Big Mac, and I had a quesadilla from Taco Bell, like, and I'm eating a bag of chips. Like, wow, I must really be insane.
Mm-hmm.
So losing, and then I did lose weight because I wanted to get pregnant again, and I got pregnant again and had problems with Cameron, but they weren't as severe. And I think when all was just said and done, I think I just sort of related my weight gain to this event, and it became this way of comforting myself during the worst time of my life. So it's like letting go of, I don't know, it's been very hard for me to let go of. And I think sometimes not being able to let go of it sort of means like letting go of that whole experience, letting go that happened, and it was kind of a long time ago at this point, and it's not important, that I can just move on with the Harry that we have. I don't know. I definitely think there's some kind of connection there that I need to continue to explore for sure, because when I did try to lose weight, whereas before I was a vegan, I was this, I was that, I was that, it was no problem for me, but suddenly it was an enormous problem for me. So I don't know. I still have yet to wrap up that chapter of my story. When I do, I'll probably be at goal. That's probably what will happen.
I'm glad that you spoke about the amount of food, because some people, always ask, well, I've had more than one person ask me, well, how did you get that big in that little time? And I want to say to them, I didn't eat hardly anything, but I was stopping at every fast food before I even went home to make dinner. And that's the honest truth. I don't know why I did it to myself. I can say it was emotional. I can say, but it is emotional. It really is. You're trying to deaden the pain of so much sometimes. And some people don't have that issue. Some people say, well, I didn't have an issue with no emotion, no problem, nothing happened dramatic, in life. I just ate because I love food. Well, in my case, it was dramatic. In your case, with your child, it was dramatic. And I think that sometimes it's good for us to tell the truth about, we weren't eating a Big Mac. We were eating Big Macs. Right?
Yeah, multiples.
Yeah.
2 of everything and many things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've had many days back in my day where I had a pizza and then spent about $15-$20 at the chicken shack, and so it was, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about with that. And it's not normal behavior. And the thing was, it wasn't an everyday thing, so you would have thought that there would have been something that made me say, wait, what am I doing? This thing that I do every couple of months for a week or 3 weeks or a month straight, what is this? Why am I doing this? But I didn't. I just enjoyed it, and then, moved on, didn't think about it, and then once in a while tried to get serious, and that lasted for a very short period of time. So I wish I could look, and this would be a great show if I could just say, here was the exact thing that went into my mind that stopped me from getting serious enough to make health my top priority. But I can't identify that one thing, that kept me in that cycle for so long. You know, even now when I struggle today, it's hard to just pinpoint the one thing. Well, this was the thought going through my mind, or this was the thing that stopped me from doing it. The one thing I can say that when I go off, it's usually because my mind is thinking very far ahead. If I say I want to lose 50 pounds by the end of the year, well, going off today is not going to be a big deal. So I can go off today and eat what I want today because now I have tomorrow and the rest of the year to lose those 50 pounds. I'm not thinking, well, today I need to get control and then tomorrow I need to have control. I'm thinking by the end of the year I want to be 50 pounds lighter. And I'm sure that I'll have enough good days starting tomorrow to make that happen. So that's the one thing I know happens to me when I go off is I'm usually thinking very far ahead rather than here's what I need to do today to be healthy today.
Exactly.
I don't know if that made sense or if it just...
No, that made perfect sense. I've done the exact same thing, so... Or I say, I was really good yesterday, so,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because that was one of the things that Brooke and I first started talking about, beside in our comments, even on videos early on, was always we would both work out very hard, burn a ton of calories, and then use that as a license to eat what we want because we feel like, hey, I burned 2,000 calories excess today, so yeah, I can eat and not have a problem. But it wasn't even then about the calories. It was really about being in control or losing control. And that was the choice that was in front of us each day, was you can be in control of yourself or you can lose control and give up control to food.
Yep.
Right. What about, did any of
I
you
did
guys
it
ever...
after this race for sure.
Yeah. And that was the thing with you, Brooke, with this one, you looked at how great, like you say, the last 6-7 months for you have been amazing. With so many things that you did, early on with the fast food, and you really just gained the control over that. And even when you've done the 21-day fix, and then you went and tried to track, and that didn't work, but that still didn't make you, lose control. You just realized it didn't work and moved on. So you saw that you were still susceptible to those things even this time.
Oh, for sure. I have a long ways to go.
Well, I've come up to a breaking point, guys, that it'll be cool to share because what's interesting about it is that years ago when I first got sick, I said that I was going to lose weight in case this was the problem, and I just never did it. So from being in the hospital 2 weeks ago, as you guys know, I did a spinal tap, and I do have something called intracranial hypertension, which pretty much means I have just a lot of excess spinal fluid or spinal pressure. And one of the things that they found with that is that if the person or the woman who has it is overweight, once she loses the weight, it goes away. So I'm really motivated now to see that if I lose this weight, if it really does go away, and it helps my headaches. So we'll see if this is a real breaking point for me.
Yeah, that's cool though. I mean, it's a big motivation for you.
Right.
It's like, let's do this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, come on, Khalif, let's go. He's like,
That's right.
Okay.
We wait till Monday. Start on Monday. Everything's on Monday.
What about the people that you guys surround yourself with, or surrounded yourself with when you were obese, whatever, however you want to say it? I mean, what did you think about the skinny friends that you have, or did you have skinny friends? I had skinny friends, and I saw them being healthy and eating right and trying to stay low fat, and I saw all that stuff, but it never motivated me. Did it motivate you guys in any way? Did you have somebody that brought it into your life and you wanted it to stick, but it just didn't stick?
Nope.
No.
Not at all.
I had people who were in shape, but never anyone that was just so much into it that I caught the bug from them and wanted to be fit
Like,
and,
how did
and healthy.
Well, like Brooke, how did you become
My
a vegan? I mean,
sister.
was it?
Oh, that was like a. See, that's my husband's really healthy, and I was really healthy, and it was just like a lifestyle choice that we made. My sisters are really healthy. Yeah, I'm around a lot of healthy people, and my sister did encourage me to start running when I did start running. So I guess that's like a huge deal in my life. And she did so over the phone. She lives in California, and I live in Ohio. But in terms of the day-to-day, I mean, my husband is very healthy. He eats in normal portions. He doesn't like compulsively overeat by any stretch. He always stops when he's full. You would think it would rub off on me, but it really makes me more secretive and really makes me feel more ashamed of what I'm doing because I don't really have a partner in crime. You know what I mean? I'm kind of by myself.
Is that thunder I'm hearing in the background?
That's me. That's why my dog is like attacking me. It's scared.
Oh, I thought that was thunder. I'm like, okay, who's got
No,
thunderstorms over
I'm
there?
scared. I'm scared.
Funny.
Do you have anybody?
Alicia, what'd you say, Rose?
Okay.
You're breaking up, but I think you were asking if there was anybody who was
Is
commenting.
anybody commenting? Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
Alicia, she actually asked a good question. Probably was directed to me, but I think everybody should take a crack at it if you want to. She says, do you ever fear the future if you don't succeed?
Yep.
So, yeah. Do you fear? Yeah. Do you fear the future?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it today. I mean, it was a struggle for me. And, I was thinking, I let myself gain 40 pounds back. What if I let myself gain the other 70 back? What would happen? And it does scare me. I say that I know I won't let that happen, but I said before that I wouldn't let myself get back over 220, and here I am close to 240. So it is scary to me. I am afraid of that, I guess, and it motivates me to work harder, but it also discourages me at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense at
No, I'm
all.
afraid to fail too. I know what you mean. So it's like it's hard to try because you're afraid to fail.
Yeah, it is. It is. So yes, I definitely do fear that.
I think that
I mean,
it knocks on my door every day. It's
yeah.
it's
Oh,
something in
still?
the back of my mind. It's something in the back of my mind every day. I can't even say one day goes by and I'm not thinking it could be, I could gain, and it could be a backwards instead of a forward. So I'm trying to go forward as much as possible. Just keep on that track. But I think
I
about it
think
daily.
the fear for me comes from even now thinking about how much guilt and condemnation I put myself under for past failures. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I just don't want to go into my future like that. Because it's just more of that's going to be there if I don't succeed. It's just like to me it's just even going to be worse, and that's no way to live.
No.
Beating yourself up all the time.
Right.
I guess for me, because I'm so active, assuming I can stay active, because I do a lot of different things. So hopefully, if one thing goes wrong, I have something else to do. If I can stay as active as I am, I can still continue to binge eat, and I can still continue to weigh 200 pounds. Of course, I would want to binge more, but I could keep it managed and still weigh 200 pounds and seem normal and live a somewhat normal life. But in reality, I'm miserable and I'm sad, and doing that is just for people who do it, it's a terrible lonely, desperate feeling. And that's my fear, that I'll stay where I am and I'll just be normal looking but in misery, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, um, I do feel that way some. Um, just same thing, thinking about either regaining the weight that I've lost, because I have regained some over the last year, or even thinking about not going forward with it, because I hit these marks and I got as low as 225, and I'm saying, is that going to be what I keep doing? Am I going to hit 225, some like the end of the summer, and then in the fall just go back up again, or am I going to be able to break through this? Um, I do have the one motivation, I guess, through all of it is the powerlifting, and mainly because I would have to compete in a certain weight class. And, my goal was to compete in the 181-pound weight class. So, that's my goal weight, is to get probably in the 170s, 180s, so that I can just manipulate my weight for the weigh-in, whenever I lift. So that's the only thing that I have that's pulling me. But I do, at least to answer your question, I do have that fear, because when I have a bad day, I talk myself into the bad day by saying, well, my ultimate goal isn't up for 6 months or up for a year. If I had to set a goal to say I want to lose 2 pounds by Friday, then maybe I would be a little better at controlling myself. But then I would have to set a lot of unrealistic goals, that short term. So it's always like a juggling act for me with that. But I definitely do fear the future, fear of failing, because I'm sabotaging myself. Oh, and Rose, Pete was answering your question. He said, I never had anyone in my life that infected me with the idea of eating healthy or doing fitness. Definitely had people around who were healthy, but I didn't make the connection between that and their habits or activities.
Yeah. I kind of wish I was infected somehow. It didn't happen. It didn't happen for me. But I had lots of people trying to live healthy around me.
Yeah, I was just secretly hating. I'm like,
Yeah.
I remember when I was that small.
Hmm.
I wish I was like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't really motivated or anything or inspired.
Yep.
Well, my thing was that I never really ate healthy or cooked healthy or even knew to do it healthy. I didn't. I can't sit here and say, well, let's see. We had that was not in my house. I had lard and bacon fat and butter and just every greasy food you could think of and fatty was part of our diet. Potatoes was in every. Potatoes was in every burrito that I could ever think of. Rice and good old refried beans with lots of butter and lard. That was part of my life. I consumed. I didn't know that if I laid low on those, fatty foods, that I would lose weight. You know what I'm saying? I was on many diets, but I went by their foods, like Weight Watchers, box foods, and Jimmy Craig, and things like that. But I didn't do it for myself. Not until I learned how to cook for myself that I all of a sudden really become health conscious. Does it make any sense? Did anybody else go through that?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially for me, counting macros is what did it for me, because then I realized what went into all the food. If I'm eating something that shouldn't have a lot of fat, and I see the fat content is 10, 15 grams, and it's like, well, what did they put in this? And then I'm looking at the ingredients. Oh, that's where all the fat came from. Okay, well, I can make that myself and cut this down. Or if I want fat, I'm making sure I'm getting it from places that I want to get it from. And, I'm just being conscious of what I'm eating more than just getting in a certain amount of calories. I'm looking at the ingredients of the foods. And, Sharianne and I really try to eat things where we can name all the ingredients and we know why things are going into the food. Even if we buy something that's in a package, we know why. Oh, they put this in as a preservative, and they put this in to preserve the color, and this one is in here because it affects this, and to at least know why we're eating what we're eating. So it's
Right.
definitely changed for us.
I think that if I had that information before, that would have helped me tremendously. But it just You know, and I was a school teacher, but I wasn't teaching health.
Yeah.
Yeah, growing up, I mean, we ate pretty healthy. I mean, my mom cooked every meal. We hardly went out. Like, when we went out, it was a special occasion. We didn't eat out a lot. I was always just big because I ate a lot of whatever was there. So then when after my mom died and it was just my dad and I, my dad went on the Atkins diet. And, you know, I ate whatever he did, but I still ate a ton of it. So he lost weight, but I didn't. I stayed just where I was. Then when I moved out on my own, man, I ate whatever I wanted because I could eat whatever I wanted, you know? And I mean, then I decided to try Slim Fast shakes, and I would eat them with like ding dongs and Twinkies and stuff, and just use it as a chaser afterwards, you know? So, I mean, I knew what I should be doing, and, you know, I knew I should be eating better. I just didn't, you know? So I had that knowledge. I just didn't do it.
Hey, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. I did the same
Yep.
thing.
I mean, my brother-in-law said to me, he's like, you know, those are supposed to be meal replacement shakes. You don't eat them with other stuff. And I'm like, I do, you know? They were delicious.
Yeah, yeah, a little shake. Yeah, I get it. I'm telling you, I know.
That's right. Yep. Hey. But,
We actually have oh good, Bruce, tomorrow's weight loss journey. He's watching, and he said, I hate living in the past, telling my wife how I used to do backflips and how my body looked back in the day, and not being able to do those things today. Besides, I'm not getting younger, so I have to pay attention to my health more closely. So that's, you know, that's something I think a lot of us can relate to, especially, you know, if we weren't, you know, morbidly obese all our lives, and we had a back in the day moment where I can look back and I'm like Al Bundy, where I can say, well, I played football and baseball in high school and I have those memories, you know. But it's like, okay, that's, I was almost 20 years ago, you know, when I was doing that. So it's time to like move on and create some memories now, you know, while I can.
Yeah, my high school memories was trying to go up the stairs. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. Terrific.
Well,
I was
I
too big
don't
to
think
be
Google
going
wanted
up
us
and
to
down
know.
them stairs. That's all I can remember. Huh? What'd you say?
We couldn't hear you the first time, so it had to come in when you said it the second time. I mean, I think it is.
But that was crazy, going up and down them stairs.
I think there is a difference with that when you can look back and say, like, I was athletic, I was healthy, I used to do this, you know, and then you have the other side where it's, I've grown up this way, you know, and I was always big and I was always eating this way because my parents did or whatever. You know, you have both sides, and I think even that can play into it. Sometimes sometimes the motivation from the past can help push you, where sometimes if you've done it all your life, you feel like, I can't change. This is just who I was born to be. I was born to be overweight. I was born to be unhealthy. You know, and we can get stuck both ways and say, hey, I let myself go because I used to be healthy. And, you know, either way, we can play those mental games and bring ourselves down.
yeah.
Right. You know, you when you don't know any other way, then you think that is the way.
Yeah. We got another comment, and this one is actually a little long. This is one from Lord Bear. And this guy, he had one of the most amazing, impressive weight loss, I don't want to say full journey, but parts of a journey that I've ever seen. And he talks some about it here. He says, how can you not fear the future? Weight and the health issues hold you back from so much and cause so many more issues. Then he goes into his story. He says, I lost 160 pounds in 6 months, then got sick twice in 1 month and screwed my metabolism and gained 30 back. Lost it again, back and forth several times. And then the end of last year, I got new medication, and it made me sick for 8 months straight, till I guess that's what it was, and stopped taking it. Meanwhile, I couldn't work out and could barely breathe, and also got pneumonia from it as well. And because of it, I gained 40 pounds back, and the edema in one of my legs kicked in again. I mean, so you can imagine just how, how
Yeah.
devastating that could be. To be going so well and have these things that are kind of out of your control really pull you back. And it's like you have to have another moment. And I think most of us here, if not all of us, have talked about that, where we did have a successful weight loss for a period and then had a regain, and then now we're fighting that, and we may even need to pull another moment or something that just says, get disciplined, get straight. But that's, I mean, he hasn't made videos for a while, so I didn't know all of that. But if you listening right now, start making videos again and start getting back into it. He was phenomenal in the way that he was losing weight. I think he won a couple of challenges. He may have won a couple $1,000s at different places.
Wow.
Just from the way he was losing weight. So it was definitely inspiring. So to have him get derailed like that is definitely a shocking thing.
But he can also get right back on that rail, and
Yep.
and he's going to show you that he is, probably, more than likely. I'm glad you're here, Lord Bear. What's his name?
Lord Bear is his channel.
Channel name.
So yeah, he made a couple comments, so you can see him and subscribe. Yeah. So we're all going to subscribe to you, so that means you got to make videos.
Right now.
No, I know that a lot of us get derailed, and a lot of us fall off the wagon, so to speak. But all of us have that capability of getting back on the wagon. Before, I think that the before was we felt like it ain't going to happen. It's just not going to happen for us, And that is stinking thinking. That is no longer something that can be part of our lives. We really, really have to walk away from that stinking thinking, because we have it in us. No matter if we gain 40 pounds, 100 pounds, we have it in us to start again. It's us telling us that it's possible and that we're not going to let it happen again. And even if day to day to minute, meal to meal, what you had for breakfast, what you had for lunch, and what you had for dinner. Right? I'm speaking to the choir, I hope.
Yeah.
There's this crazy thunderstorm, so I keep trying to mute and unmute my microphone because I keep looking over. It's like crazy thunderstorm.
It was you. I know it was you, bro.
Send them to us. Poor Tiny. So, Brooke, do you think that, and I'm saying this because actually I'll read the comment, Gina versus Gina is her channel. She said, once I learned to cook healthier for myself, this journey became a bit easier. And I follow her on Instagram and YouTube, and she really makes some very, very good dishes, and she's so creative with the stuff she makes. And they're much prettier than mine, too. But, so, Brooke, would you agree with that as well? Because Rose said that earlier, that, because I know you love to cook, but, you talked before a few weeks ago about the way that you like to cook it. May be a detriment. Do you think it has helped you or hurt you, the way that you're so into cooking?
Well, when I was thin and healthy, I was a vegan, which meant I cooked 7 days a week for myself, and I really had to make cooking and food a priority. That's really where I learned how to cook. In terms of that comparing to how I cook now, I mean, obviously I cook with meat, and I cook with cream and cheese and all that kind of stuff. But I always hold true to that. If you're cooking at home, you're already ahead of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I need to continue to make changes and not making those rich meals so frequently. But Gosh, I just love to cook. So sometimes I feel like it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes I just love to cook so hard, and sometimes it saves me in that I can cook healthy things and they're enjoyable. So it goes both ways with me.
Okay. Um, okay, we actually have a question from Matthew Smelling. Um,
Matthew in the house.
yeah, and that's Sarah's husband, by the way. He says, do you think that losing weight for yourself should be the number one reason for losing weight? And then he says this may also apply for other areas in your life. So he said he's just asking a question. He's not trying to say someone's right or wrong. But what do you guys think? Do you think that losing weight for yourself should be the top priority? Or, some people say I'm losing it for my kids, for my husband, my wife, other things. What do you think?
Well, for me, 100%. I
don't know.
do it for me to help others, to help my family.
Okay, so Rose, you're saying you have to lose weight for yourself first.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay, Sarah, what were you?
Well, I think that's a hard question because for myself, I know that I'm wanting to lose weight for myself, but also in that I'm wanting to lose weight so I can have a family. So it's like kind of for myself, but kind of not. But I do think that, I think for yourself should at least be up there, like pretty high if it's not number one reason. Because, for some people, maybe losing weight for their kids will be more motivational and get them to go rather than for themselves. Because it's easier to deal with your own disappointment, but not with disappointment in your children, them being disappointed. So, I don't know.
So let's talk to the only parent here. So what do you say, Brooke? What's more important, or what should be the number one reason for losing weight?
I always wanted to lose weight. For me, I mean, everyone's different. Like Sarah said, everyone has a different motivate. It's what comes down to what motivates you. But for me, it's always been for myself because running and weight loss and spending time on YouTube and being a Beachbody coach and all these things, it's very selfish when you think about it. But it makes me a better mom. It makes me a better partner. It makes me more effective in being a manager of my home. It makes me a better follower of Christ. It just makes me better. So, but the act is very, very selfish.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to get at too, is like, it is for you, like you said, it is, pretty selfish for yourself, but it's a good selfish. And so other people benefit from it. So it's not just really all about you.
Right, yeah.
I like those answers. Okay, I'll say now, Rose said that they lost internet where they are in Texas, so we're kind of just texting right now and figuring out if she can get it back. But she apologized to everybody. We're going to be on for another 35 minutes, so don't know where you are. So she may have a chance to get back on and may not. But Pete, Sleeve Rocker, he answered the question in the comment section. He said, doing it for yourself is definitely a plus, but I think maybe finding a reason to do it for another reason is helpful. Something more real instead of just wanting to be healthy. Like you want to be able to travel easily or ride a roller coaster with your wife or take up some sporting activity. So, again, it sounds like what you both were saying, Brooke and Sarah, that, it's for yourself, but ultimately the motivation is for yourself, but the benefit will be to many. So the benefits also becomes a motivation.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that, pretty much I agree with what everyone is saying, is that in a lot of ways, a lot of things do come back to yourself. Mm-hmm. But to me, like, whatever your motivation is, use it, so if it is your kids, if it is, whatever it is, just run with it. But I don't think for everyone it's directly, they say, I'm going to do this for me, everyone just isn't like that. Although a lot of people are very mean, you know, you hear that a lot, you know, in different areas where people say you have to love yourself and do things for yourself, but everyone isn't like that either. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that one that it's the primary focus should probably be yourself, only because we may get to a point, and again, it's not for everybody, but you may get to a point where you can justify, kind of letting someone down. I mean, I remember when, some like someone was talking about their schedule on YouTube, and or their schedule at home, but they made a video about it, and they said that it was difficult because they're married with kids, and it's tough to really for them to be as active and chase their dreams, that they wanted to do as far as being fit, and all the people were pretty much saying, well, you have to just do it for yourself, pretty much like, who cares what your husband wants, or who cares, that you got to take care of your kids, you got to do things for you. And I'm thinking, like, what? Are you just trying to make this person get divorced? Like, are you really telling them to ignore the priority that they have in their home to go do something, some activity? I mean, it's like, I think we can. So all those people who are leaving comments, to me, I was saying in my mind, if they ever use somebody as motivation, they could easily deal with kind of disappointing that person or saying, well, I'm losing weight because I want to be a better husband. But then you say, you know what? You can get to a point where you say, well, my wife better love me for who I am.
Yep.
I shouldn't have to lose weight to make my wife happy. So then you lose that motivation because you just justified, breaking out of that. Or, anything else. You can just say, well, you know what? I can really teach my kids, even though I'm struggling with it, I can still teach my kids to be healthy. And so you lose that kind of edge that motivation had because you can talk yourself out of it. But as Sarah, as you said, we can justify it to ourselves as well because we've been practicing doing that all our lives.
Yeah.
So I think we need to have sometimes more than one. Maybe a primary one, but some other ones to fall back on. Like, even if I let myself down, I don't want to let my kids down. Or once you get to that point where my husband could go kick rocks, then you at least saying, well, he can, but I can't, do this to myself, or I can't, I'm my mother's only kid. I can't just kill myself like this. And
right.
So, I think you want to have a primary motivation and a couple of backups for when you start feeling real low. I probably sounds real silly, but that's
it makes sense.
Everyone needs a backup plan. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So have your backup plan ready when you start with that primary motivation. Have a few other things that also will be pushing you.
Yeah.
I gotta go, Khalees. I'm sorry. I'm falling asleep.
No, thank you, bro.
No, we
I go to
understand.
bed so early. I get up and do fitness-related activities. So.
So you'll be excused. All right. Thanks a
Feel
lot.
better.
Thank you so much for having me. I'll watch the rest of the show tomorrow.
Okay, good night.
All right. So, and Brooke said she had to leave, so don't think she just jumped off. But Mary Mac RNY talking about kind of the fears of what was a motivation. She said, my fear was never walking again. And she needed to take back her life, and she said, get off the pot. So, I think that's, somebody mentioned that. I think, Sarah, you mentioned that, right? Talking about other people having to help you do personal things.
Yeah, that's a good motivator, though. I mean, because nobody wants that to happen. And like you said, Sherry Ann, you watched all those weight loss shows on YouTube and stuff, and those people go through that humiliation, and there's nothing they can do. And oftentimes, when they start their journey, that's like right up in the top of their motivators. Is they want to be able to take care of themselves, because they have to rely on somebody for everything. So that's a really good motivator.
I think so. I think, it helped me watching those people even, and seeing, their family members or people who didn't even know them, home health aides and things, coming and having to wash them. And, they would have to make sure that they wash in between the folds of skin so that they don't get ulcers. And if they ever did get an injury, it would never heal because they couldn't even get, a lot of oxygen, that far out in their body. And then they couldn't get, it was just a mess just having to watch them. And it's like, to do all of that, to get to the point where you can stop it. And one of the shows we were watching, there were people who were, obese. They were maybe even morbidly obese. And then they would send them to the United States from the UK and say, hey, if this doesn't motivate you, what you're going through, we're going to send you to the UK, to the US, and you're going to go with somebody who's super morbidly obese. So
I know exactly what show you're talking about.
Yeah, so they would see those people and they would say, wow, I don't want to get to this point. I'm 500 pounds, but I don't want to get to 600 pounds.
Yeah. It's funny, like when I think about that show or Hoarders or or my, in general, just talking about sin, like the thing I realize is that it's easy to sit back and think you're far away from those things, but none of us are, like to me it just seems like with weight gain or with hoarding or whatever or anything like that, it just takes a few wrong decisions to get you on your way there.
It does, and it is easy, it's like a slippery slope. It's a slippery path. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think when we talk about motivation, it's really, I think that's one of the things that really can help, even if we don't have this breaking point. And that's what we're really talking about. How do you get to that point when you start taking it seriously? I don't think it has to be something like, Rose, she fell and was so embarrassed falling in front of her class and her, her daughters. And, you don't always have to have that type of moment. You can pull these little motivations and these little things that go on. I remember watching, I love King of Queens. I think this is one of the greatest shows ever. And I remember watching an episode, and he was upset. Doug was upset because his wife got his shirt from the Big and Tall shop, which to me was like, obviously he would have to go to Big and Tall. He was big enough, and he was a little upset about that. And what he says to her is, "I'm going to get in shape and I'm going to do this," and then when at the end he said, because no one's ever calling me Fatty McButterpants again. And she really said, somebody called you Fatty McButterpants, and it took a shirt from Big and Tall to push you over the edge.
Yeah.
You would think being called Fatty McButterpants would be enough for you to say, I have to get my life in order. But no, it was simply seeing a shirt that came from Big and Tall rather than coming from Macy's, and that pushed him to want to be healthy. So
the funny part is, ask Khalif how many times he's called himself Fatty McButterpants because of the show.
That's funny.
It was definitely something that hit me like, wow, what we do to ourselves and what we endure, and the small things that can make us say, hey, maybe I should do something.
Yeah, it just takes one little thing sometimes to push you over the top, and then you do something.
Yeah. So we got a couple, actually, Lord Bear, and I hate using names when they're not real, so Carl is his real name. He sent me a picture of himself. It looks like it was just him probably with a sensei. But anyway, he got a black belt in Taekwondo. And, that was something else he was talking about on his channel. So, and I believe he was over 400 pounds when he started. And so he's training and doing Taekwondo with someone who's over 400 pounds. So, and now he's less, but, that's where he started at, I believe. So it was just amazing even watching him with that. And I'm going to try to paste a link to the picture so you guys can just see. But, just keep talking. I actually, Like I don't want to do it and stop the show, but
Okay.
I do want you guys to check it out though.
Okay, cool. That's pretty impressive doing karate and stuff that way. Awesome job.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to try karate. I don't know. I think I could have fists of fury. So, yeah. Yep. I do want to try it. So, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, man. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well done.
Alicia said, it's an awful thing to have someone help you with using the bathroom or getting out of bed and bathing. I was there.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. Well done for you for doing something about it. You've been doing great.
Yep.
Yep.
And now she's in the 300s.
Yep.
That's awesome.
From
Good
being,
job,
I
girl.
believe 560 was her heaviest, and now she's in the 300s. It's amazing.
It is. Yep, that is good. And so many people, unfortunately, they are at that spot and they have to have help. They just still don't make that choice to do something about it.
Yeah.
It's just they stay there, and it's very sad. I had an aunt who she's passed away now, but she was, well over 400 pounds, maybe even over 500 pounds. I don't know. And, she had lost a bunch of weight, and she was down to like 200 pounds or less. And then she just gained it all back and more. And then eventually it's what killed her. It strained her heart, and that's what killed her. And it's just, I never, I always thought, you lost all that weight. How could you gain it all back? But now I kind of understand how easy it would be to just go right back to it. How easy it is to just fall right back in there. It's a constant battle. We call this a weight loss journey, and I'm calling it a battle now because it is a fight every day sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a fight. So, but it is.
Mm. And Mary Mac RNY, who talked about having trouble walking, she said, I was not at the place where I could not care for myself, but I was using a walker and 2 canes because my knees were shot. Now the cane is needed for balance, and she's been approved for knee replacement surgery, and that's something the doctors wouldn't even consider before.
Wow.
Lost enough weight that now she can get her knees taken care of.
That's great. Awesome.
Yeah, it's really, I think it's really amazing to see just how, once we have that thing that pushes us, how far we can go. And that's something that I've told Brooke through text and also on YouTube comments, just that she's had so much motivation so not motivation, she's had so much momentum for this year, 2014, that she can really take advantage of. I mean, she's dropped into the 100s as far as her weight's concerned. She was battling a couple of injuries and muscular imbalances, and she went through physical therapy and got them back and just ran a marathon. And she's leading a couple of challenges now and really helping a lot of people get healthy. So, when we get that type of momentum, I think it's good to just run with it. And, I don't want to say do things extreme, but I think that's the time when you want to just push as hard as you can when you have this momentum, as hard as you can. I mean, because I don't want someone saying, Kali said I should go, run a marathon and be like, Brooke.
Right. But yeah, when you have that much momentum, it's good to explore, what you are capable of. Like maybe you've only been walking, like 5 miles a day. Well, maybe you can try and expand and do more, and see how much you can, expand on what you're doing, and don't get all crazy and stuff. Like, I said in our last video, do what you can do. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Do what you can do, and do it to the best of your ability. Get good at it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's really cool. That's good with the momentum. She's doing really awesome. So that's an encouragement. It's like, come on, where's momentum? Let's get it.
Yeah. I mean, so far we've, like we've talked about a couple of things about what motivates you, Um, and I don't know what else I was thinking, so excuse the second one. But I guess the other thing I was thinking about in terms of, you know, reaching a breaking point and how to be successful is is to do things that you can do for the rest of your life. Because that's the one thing I think came up in us just talking tonight is that it's easy to set short-term goals and fall short of those, you know, or to
Yep.
forget or let other things become more important, or we don't even know why we fall or mess up or whatever. So I mean, I think you should try to live the way you want to live for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, and that really is true, you know, like when people go on these crazy diets, you know, these crash diet things, it's like, you know, you have to make lifetime changes, you know, something that you, like you said, can do for the rest of your life. You're not going to go the rest of your life just eating cabbage soup or drinking apple cider vinegar. You know, it's good to do stuff that is sustainable throughout the years, you know. So I agree, 100%.
A couple of comments here. Rose, who is listening on her phone and watching, she said, "For me, I had to put me first in order to put others first. I regret learning it late. I wish I would have done early so I could have benefited my daughters." Um, and talking about that show, Carl Lord Bear, he said that the show actually contacted him a couple years ago, but they didn't like him, I guess, for the show because he decided he was not going to have surgery.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, it is, you know, and I know that there were a couple other people. We talked to Deanna Bray, who was going to have I forgot who it was. Maybe man, I forgot. Anyway, one of the big TV things, not 60 Minutes, but something like that. 2020, maybe I think it was going to actually come into her home, and you know, but they wanted her to basically be worse than what she was.
Yeah.
You know, I talked about that, how they, you know, wanted it to. She was living with someone, I think, who was anorexic, and they, or maybe bulimic. They had an eating disorder, and they wanted it to put it as, you know, the anorexic person versus the morbidly obese person living together, and you know, and it wasn't that at all. You know, they were really a support for each other. So, you know, it's amazing to see how these shows really want to shape what they do, even though they claim to be reality. They're really
Yeah.
not.
And honestly, I mean, I think that's another good motivation if you think about it. Not just these shows for one, but even the food industry. You know, they're trying to capitalize on pretty much our pain and our struggle. You know,
Yeah.
they're making money off this. You know, and really targeting people who are overweight for so many things. So to me, that's motivation to just not fall into that trap, you know, or to stay there.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's true. You know, I was talking to someone today about, um, you know, just all the plans, like, because there's people who will bounce every 2 months on a different plan and on a different thing, thinking that that is going to be what starts it. And it always is this excitement at first, and then it dies down, you know, and something happens. So, you know, and I was just saying, it's really sad that the answer isn't more education. I don't just mean formal in the schools, but a way to educate people about health and nutrition and fitness, you know, not the myths, but actually educate us about them so that we can just make informed decisions. But instead, it's buy this product, do this, you know, book, follow this plan, avoid these 20 foods, only eat these 10 foods, you know, eat like a caveman. No, you can't eat like a caveman because they died. Eat like that, you know. I mean, it's just it's just crazy, all the things, and it's all, like you said, to make money off of us, and we have to realize that there aren't too many companies out there that says, I want to help in the obesity epidemic. They're saying, I want to make money off these fat people.
Yep, they are. Yeah. And it's sad, you know, and then, you know, there's all these TV shows like, you know, right now with the whole Dr. Oz thing going on where he's under fire for all that stuff. And it's like, it's sad, but it's true. Like, watch his show. It's like there's always something about this new miracle diet pill or this miracle herb and this miracle green coffee and all this stuff. And it's like, you know, people look to shows like that because we're doctors in there, and it's like, well, this must be really true because
Right.
doctor or scientific and all this stuff. And it's just this big, huge thing just to make money. I mean, some of it, yes, it might work, it might be beneficial, but there is no magic pill for health and fitness. The magic pill is hard work and determination and commitment, but people don't like to hear that. You can't sell that, but you can sell little pills that taste like chocolate, So,
I mean, think about it. If you're even on Slim Fast for 2 months, that's 2 months of your money they have.
yep, they
They
do.
don't care about it after that,
Yep. Nutrisystem and all those shake replacement things, I've seen people who've had success with like those um, those shake things, those powder things that you get. I don't know what they are, but what they're called, I can't remember. But it's all just, you can do some of that, at home, but they're just making lots of dough off you from that kind of stuff instead of teaching you how to actually be healthy, without their stuff.
Yeah, I think I think it's a big thing, and you see that, like you said. I think I've bashed Dr. Oz enough on this show and in my videos, but it really was something to see him being called out, because he has such a strong influence.
Yeah.
And you'd say people who are trying to alter their appearance are, we can be some of the most gullible people on the planet. And it's not just people trying to lose weight, but you look at people who are skinny and want to get bigger and put on mass. I mean, look at how many weight gainer things there are, and how many of these bros are going to the gym and paying so much money because they want to look bigger, and they buy, and they're going and getting steroids thinking that that's the answer, not realizing that they still have to put in the work. And it's just crazy, both sides. When we want to alter our appearance, we're willing to do just about anything.
Yeah.
I wrote about the people putting a patch on their tongue.
Yeah.
They get a patch sewed onto their tongue like plastic, so that it's so painful to eat that it's impossible for them to eat, and they just can't do it. I mean, that's the desperation that goes into it.
Boggles my mind. Wow.
But that's how, I mean, and I think too, like going back to the topic, like I think that's another important point that we can take from it. It's just the idea that your weight, like this thing that we're in is such a small part of who we all are. Like, don't let it control your life and your mind and take over, I mean, make it a part of your life's journey, but that's not all you are. Like, we don't have to be so obsessed that we're willing to take every pill. We're willing to buy every exercise program, we're willing to take everybody's advice.
Yeah. You're more than what you weigh,
Yeah.
I made it back, guys.
Hey,
Sorry.
Rose.
Well, you made it just in time, because Gina, I think her comment sounds a lot like what you were saying earlier in the show. She says, I was a caretaker for my mother for over 2 years before she passed, and losing her was a turning point for me. Almost every medical condition you can name runs either on my mother or father's side, and although I've been fortunate not to suffer with any health issues, I knew without change my days were numbered.
Right. First of all, they consume you. If you're their caregiver, they consume you. And it's like all you do is think about how to feed them, how to take care of them. And then all of a sudden you're not priority anymore. They are. And you learn you stop learning what priority is, other than you don't focus on you anymore. You focus on the people you take care of. And I think that's where I lost control, basically. I had too many, responsibilities as far as my children, my husband, my mother, and, just a lot of things. But yeah, I can totally relate. And that's why I said what I said. I had to type it to you guys because our internet went out. But I feel, for me, that if I had made myself priority and thought of me first, then I could have been able to take care of others longer. Does that make sense? I mean, I wanted to hold my children in my laps. I didn't have a lap when I got pregnant. You know, I didn't have a lap after having children. I didn't get to carry my kids like all the mothers I see now that wrap themselves, you know, with their kids. I didn't get to do any of that. I had only my stomach, you know, it was in my way. My stomach prevented me from doing a lot of things that I wanted to do. My weight prevented me, you know. And so I do believe that you know, we do have to put ourselves first in order to help ourselves and others.
Mm.
Because it ain't going to happen any other way. Your weight will become your problem. It will give you reasons why you can't do what you really want to do in life, even as small as putting your child on your lap. So, yeah, for me, it was I have to put myself first. But I didn't do it until years later.
Yeah.
That's my regret.
Yeah, so it really, you know, what I said a couple of times in talking about what we wanted to really get out of the show is really just have someone, or and even us to a certain extent, that we can walk away from this with not just a little temporary motivation because we're talking about it, but really with more ammunition, you know, and really to be introspective and look in ourselves, look in our minds and our hearts, and really say, what is stopping me from going after this with everything that I have? And whatever that is, I need to deal with it and get it out of the way. And, you know, I really hope that even this talking through times where we failed to do that and times where we succeeded and then in the middle of that success had a setback, you know, can really start, not just for us on the panel, but also all those leaving comments, you know, that we can really start making headway and get through this and not have to wait 5 more years and say, I wish back in 2014 on July 1st, I would have taken it seriously. You know, I don't want any of us to have to say that years down the line, that we wish today we took it seriously, or we made it the top priority, I should say.
Right.
It is July 1st, guys, so you know things have to start on the 1st. Today's a good day to start.
Yeah, right? That's the first
and really ask yourself, what is preventing you from making you go first? What prevented me? I asked myself that. What prevented me from cooking right for me and eating right for me? If I was making sure my mother was eating right, why didn't I make that priority for me? What prevented me from that? You know, I'm still asking myself that question.
Yeah.
You know, another thing I was just thinking about is, I mean, I'm sure that since you're watching this show, you can attest to this, but communities is something that is so helpful to keep us going. You know, pretty much we need your story. You know, everyone's story is so significant in helping us all stay motivated. You know, just seeing you do what you do is such a big help.
Right, right. It's very important. I think that's what kept Connie and I focused for a lot of years. I mean, we would watch videos after video after video after video. It would motivate us to get up the next day and do what we had to do. I mean, we would go up to like midnight. I don't know about you guys, but I I wanted this, like I could taste it. I wanted my health. I wanted to be able to be the person that I kept seeing in my head, but it wasn't physically happening at that moment, but I knew that it was coming. Does that make sense? I knew it was coming. And what helped me was the stories I was listening to. If she did it, if he did it, I know I can do it. I just got to take it that one step further, you know. Yeah, you're very right, Sherry Ann. Very, very right.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's, you know, the videos people make are so important, like you guys said, and even when you experience a failure, I think it's so important to continue on, you know, making your videos and, you know, just so that people can watch and be like, you know, look it, they had a setback, but they're still going at it. They're still trying, and they're still working hard at it. So I can do it. Because, on this weight loss battle journey, failure is something that's going to happen. You are going to have setbacks. And I think it's a really positive influence to see other people sharing that and sharing what they're doing to overcome it, and, asking for help. Sometimes we're very prideful and we don't want people to see that we failed and that we had this setback or we screwed up. But it's so important to admit that and to let other people see that and, encourage them in that way.
Yeah. Very true.
This Matthew guy is causing trouble again.
Uh-oh. Sarah?
He said, is there stuff that you try to avoid in order to protect your health? For example, energy drinks or muscle milk stuff. Those are examples. So he's also saying he's not trying to say anybody's right or wrong. So, I mean, would you say, is there anything, especially a product like that you say, I'm going to avoid that because I know it could be unhealthy? For me, it would be anything that's supposed to help with, fat mobility or fat burning. You hear those things that you take a pill when it, loosens up your fat and and it comes out in your stool and those types of things. I avoid anything that is supposed to, cause your metabolism to burn faster or anything like that, because I have no idea. It's probably bogus, or it has such a small effect that it won't change anything, or it could be something possibly dangerous that the FDA is going to ban in 6 months.
Right.
So that's me.
Yeah. Something I try and avoid is not like specific products like energy drinks and stuff like that. I stay away from because, like those little 5-hour energy things just are not for me. It reminds me like of people drinking battery acid out of little bottles, it's just, I don't do it. But I try and avoid things that I know will be really easy for me to go overboard on.
Yeah.
Like something that I know is hard for me to hold back on, like Nutella. It's really easy for me to go overboard. I actually threw away Nutella. I couldn't believe I did it, but I did it because I knew
Well, good for you, girl.
Yeah. Even Matt was surprised. He's like, "Why is this in the garbage?" I'm like, "Because it needs to be there. I can't, And I made sure it was open so stuff would go in it because I've dug out of the trash. So I'm not too proud to say I have dug that. So anyways, I try to avoid that as much as possible because I know I will go overboard on that stuff.
Right now I'm off of the Sweet and Low. I know. Before anybody starts throwing rocks at me.
No one's throwing any rocks here.
I can't do raw sugar. I can't do regular sugar. I can do Splenda, but I was using Sweet and Low for my coffee, and it's been 1 whole month. No Sweet and Low.
Way to go!
So I'm looking at labels more. Even Splenda, I'm trying very, very hard to stay as little as possible, even on the Splenda. But no more artificial sugars. No more.
Good for you.
I'm doing my best. So
well done.
I am doing a little bit of cream in my coffee, but. In fact, my sister was just asking, did I want a cup of coffee?
Of course you do.
Of course I do. I don't care what time it is at night.
Yeah, do you have to ask?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard for me to say this or that. I just know, I can only speak for myself. Like, I just want to put things in my body that I can pronounce and that I know the raw ingredients where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And a lot of that thinking has to do with my health, because it's like I don't know how these different things that I'm not aware of are affecting me and affecting my well-being. So I just stay away from stuff I can't, if I don't know what you are, if you're not from a tree or a root or a plant, or an animal, things like that. I try my best to stay away from those kinds of things. I mean, it's not like it's always possible, but as much as I can, we do that.
My background is on Atkins, so I was very afraid of even fruit. The only fruit that I would have would be pears and green apples. Those were the only fruits. Well, now I've started to add a lot more fruit than I've ever, like frozen watermelon, frozen mango, frozen pineapple. I mean, right now it's I don't do ice cream, so that's my ice cream. I blend it up in a blender, and it's delicious with a little lemon. Anyway, I'll give you a recipe later. But I was afraid to eat fruit. Oh my goodness! And I'm not afraid anymore. I'm finding that a little bit, goes a long way anyway for my pouch. So Connie and I will share a mango, but I was really afraid to have even a mango because in my head I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I know how much sugar that is. Now, if I eat it dry, that's different. It's not, it's going to be a high glycemic levels. So I want low glycemic. So I want it raw, just like Terry said, just off the tree. If it's not coming off a tree, I don't want it. So,
yeah.
I think this is a good way to end this, which would be somewhat positive. And this was a second question that Matthew wrote. He said, is there an ultimate goal or dream that you have? For example, going on a roller coaster, maybe to go on a TV show such as American Ninja Warrior,
Sure.
or reality TV shows such as A Bachelorette or Survivor. So, I mean, is there some ultimate dream or goal that you have that you can look to, and maybe even that could be part of motivation? So, who wants to tackle that first?
The Bachelorette. That's definitely my goal. No, I'm kidding.
Matthew, you're in trouble, bro. I don't know what's going on.
I think my ultimate goal is to be able to have a healthy and safe pregnancy and to have a healthy baby. That is my ultimate goal. That's what I think about pretty much every day. So that's my dream ultimate goal.
Okay.
I'm living my ultimate goal.
Nice.
I'm living right now with my sister. Well, not, I'm on vacation. I haven't left my husband, guys. Blue Eyes is still in the picture. I get so many emails on that. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm living my dream right now with my sissy. It's an amazing feeling to be able to walk together. I don't know if you guys know me on Facebook, but I put up as much as I can of everything that we can do now that we couldn't do before. We're playing together, literally playing. We get up in the mornings and go for our walks. We have these wonderful talks. I'm living my dream. This is what I wanted years ago, and I'm getting to do it.
That's awesome. I mean, this is not really, okay, here's my goal, but my goal isn't really contingent on any weight loss or anything like that. I mean, my ultimate goal is to do everything I can to regain my health. My quality of life is just so different than what it used to be, 8 years ago. I used to teach dance. I used to just do so many things that I can't do anymore just on a day-to-day basis. So my goal with trying to get as healthy as possible is to regain my quality of life.
And, I would say for me, it would be to be able to just do whatever I want to physically. And I don't know, it just that not be limited, not be held back because of my size or because of my, my wind going or anything like that. To be as strong as I could possibly be, to be as quick, as agile, as mobile, everything as I could be. So that's really, my goal is to not have these physical health problems and to prolong them as much as possible. I want to be if God allows me to be in my 50s or 60s, without some type of accident or health thing that hits me. Whatever I can control, I want to excel at physically. So I think that's where I am, and ultimately I want to gain mastery over my appetite and over going after getting pleasure from food. which is something that's plagued me all of my adult life, and I want to master that and know that I did it.
Awesome.
All right, so we are officially out of time. Um, so I just want to thank everybody who's been leaving comments, questions, even if you're not watching this live and you're seeing this later and participating. Still leave your comments. You can interact with other people who've left comments. Everybody who's made this season and this show great. If we were just sitting here talking with ourselves with no comments, with no one else telling jokes or telling their stories, it would be kind of boring to do it every week. So you guys really make this show wonderful. Everybody who's been on as a guest. And even especially I would say Sarah, just coming on in the middle of the season and really helping along with Brooke, helping us as Lori had to start working and have some other things going on personally. She still is going to be back, just so you guys know. So we're going to be doing a lot of things with the show. But I just thank you, Sarah.
Yes, thank you, Sarah. And
Yeah,
Matthew,
thank
by
you
the
so
way,
much.
because you're a pair.
Thank you for the opportunity. I
Just
really
think if we hadn't had his questions today. Just think.
Yes, and thank you, Brooke. Even though we can't, see you. You'll be
Yeah.
watching
Yes,
this.
Brooke.
Thank you so much.
And it's just everybody else who's participated. Sherry Ann, even for you stepping in, and Rose coming on, even though you're hanging out with your sister, and temporarily left Eric.
My poor blue eyes.
But yeah, it was just been a great time, great show, and everybody, if you're still watching, just stay tuned. In the next few days, I'm going to be making a couple very short videos telling you guys what's going to be happening with the Renew Show website. We're going to have a forum go live there over the summer. Hopefully, we're going to start the podcast and a few other things that are going to be going on over the summer. Videos that are going to be going up, hopefully informational, and also just some fun things. So stay tuned to all of that. We're going to have a diet bet on the channel as well, or at least hosted by the channel. So yeah, a bunch of things for you guys to participate in. If you can think of anything that you want, don't leave a comment here, but actually fill out the contact form on the website, renewshow.com/contact, and there you go. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for making the show great, and hope you have a wonderful week.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye.